Recording in progress. Hello, everybody. Hello. Coachess, mentoress, goddess, Karen-Eileen Gordon. Welcome to the December voiceover office hours. Hold on, let me admit somebody. Woo! Woohoo! We're here to have a voiceover party. All right, let me turn off the reindeer because that's going to get a little silly as we move forward, even though it's adorable. Okay, still have my hat on though. I'm keeping my hat. Hello, and welcome to December Voiceover Hours. Thank you for your flexibility with scheduling. Thank you to those of you who sent me questions. Hello to those of you in the future who let me know you wouldn't be able to be here today, but that you'd be watching in review. Hello to the future. Very nice to have you all here with me today. And I see that here, let me close this. Am I okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Looked a teeny bit delayed for me for a second, but I think we're okay. Hello. Hold on, here we go. Admitting some people. All right, I'm going to wait till 5 after, just because. How is everybody doing? Let me open up the chat. Let me open up the little chatty chat. How was everybody's Thanksgiving? Have you already put that in the rearview mirror? How was everybody's Hanukkah who celebrated? How is everybody? Are you looking forward to fill in the blank? Christmas, Kwanzaa, New Year's, Festivus, whatever's coming. Festivus. All of those. So what's going on in that?
Florida.
December in Florida. Yes, you can see like a winter background and a tank top. That is actually right. But December in Florida, David H. March the 17th, you mean your impending visit to South Florida?
Yes, that too. Yes.
Very excited. Very excited that some people are traveling and to see people that we haven't seen in fill in the blank 6 months, a year and a half, 2 years. Just naughty Omicron, be banished and vanish immediately, please. And like the tiny bit of movement that's happened in the world already before this new variant reared its ugly little head, I'm very grateful for. Hold on, let me let you in from the waiting room. Looks like she's joining. Okay. 2 more minutes and then we'll get started. Today we are going to talk about the magic of reviewing your voiceover universe at the end of the year. And that's a multi-part review that includes not only your voiceover universe, but your human life universe. They're connected. You, the voiceover artist, you, the human, they're besties. And so we're going to talk about the power of that kind of review. And I also think we have done in here before. Have we done the 6 sensory visualization in this group before? Anybody recall that?
No.
No.
I don't think.
Oh, good. All right. Well, if we've done it, we're going to do it again because it's magical. But I'm happy that I got to know because that means that maybe it'll be new to some of you. There's no downside ever to doing this wonderful gem as many times as you want to do it. It is a staple for many of your gold medal winning Olympians. It's been a mandatory part of their training in some universes and an elective part of their training in others. And it's so powerful that many of them who do it credit this particular exercise done consistently with their wins. So big stuff, and we can apply it to our voiceover universe and our voiceover career. All right, it's 5 after. We're going to get started. All right, let's see. I kind of want to see the gallery. Hello, everybody. Hello. So let's jump right in, shall we? I want you, if you're able to, so I think there's one of you on the phone. So if you're driving, please only do this in your head or out loud. But one of you in the room I know does this because it's part of a curriculum that he teaches. How many of you do anything like a review of your voiceover world in any way? That can be, I'm raising my hand, David's raising his hand. That can be a daily, a weekly, a monthly, a quarterly, a yearly basis. How many of you do any form of that. I know David H. Lawrence the 17th does. I do. We're going to talk about that in just a second. I want to pull up the beautiful chat so I can see you guys. Do you have anything like that in place? And if the answer is no, that's completely fine, because most people do not. I want to give you this as a really delicious part of your voiceover universe, because there is no business that you love, zero exceptions here, whether it's the mom and pop noodle shop up the street or Google and everything in between. There is no thriving business that does not do some sort of review of what the heck is going on with all of its bits and pieces and nooks and crannies on a regular basis. And for giant corporations, obviously, there are teams of people to do that. For you as a voiceover artist, you can do that yourself. If you have a team, if you're blessed with a team already, an agent, a manager, an accountant that you love, a lawyer, if you have any of those humans, the review could include checking in with them. If you don't have those people yet, please don't fret or stress. That's something that will come into your universe as your voiceover life expands. So I want to plant that idea, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it, and then I want to hear, I'll tell you what I do, and I'll check in with David H. Lawrence the 17th, because I know he's got a process in place. So your voiceover universe review, in my mind, needs to include several different categories. The most foundational one probably is the technical part of your voiceover universe. Now, if you're in this Zoom and you're at the beginning of your journey and you don't yet have a home studio, what that review might be for you might be looking around your home or your apartment or your nest and making a choice about what are the top 2 or 3 quietest places in your nest where you might put or might set up a studio space. And by studio, I don't necessarily mean a booth. I'm one of those people who started without a booth. I started, as I've shared before, with an attempted giant plastic dollhouse from Toys R Us. Epic fail, but really fun. And my first booth was actually 4 packing blankets, really thick packing blankets from Home Depot, hung from floor to ceiling in a box around me in the quietest place in my house. That was my first booth. So if you don't yet have your studio set up, your review would include, well, where would I set up a quiet space for myself? If you do have a studio, then that review of your stuff, and I always like quarterly or end of year, but I want you to choose what feels good to you. Again, some people like to do this on a weekly basis. Some people like to do this once a month. So really up to you how often you review. I suggest yearly at a minimum. That would be the baseline. Once a year, choose it. Maybe you want to review on your birthday. Maybe you like the start of the year. Maybe you like the end of the year. So you choose where it goes. But I'd like to introduce the idea that at some point in the 365 days of the calendar, you will choose a time to do this review. And so your equipment. So that means, how's everything doing? How is your mic performing? How are your cables? How are your headphones? Are you hearing beautifully through them? Do they need to be cleaned? Do you need to take a look at the wires? How's the lighting in your booth? Is it comfortable? The idea here is to be ferociously comfortable in your recording space. I want to say that again, because it took me a little minute to understand that that was, for me, really important. I want you to be ferociously comfortable in your recording space. Why? Because if you're comfortable, there's all kinds of chemicals that get released in your body that are relaxing and expansive, that make it easier for you to use the 100 muscles that produce speech, that make it easier for you to access your brilliant ideas when you're making choices in your voiceover copy. So I can speak from personal experience. I spent the first 6 months to a year in my booth pretty darn uncomfortable, but I was just excited to have a booth that met industry standard. And so for me, what uncomfortable meant was I had a mic on a stand and a desk set up so that I had to lean forward. Here, let me show you. Here's this. I had to lean forward in order to talk. And so what that did, if it was longer than a 15-second spot or 30-second spot, was it put strain on my neck, strain on my back, strain on my body, made my body unhappy, made everything contracted, made my voice contracted. It was a lot of shenanigans. And I tolerated it because I was just so excited about having an industry standard booth that I wasn't aware that I ought also to be really, really comfortable. The other way that I personally was uncomfortable in my first booth was the temperature. And that's an issue for a lot of voiceover talent. It was very hot in there. And again, I'm near Miami, so it's pretty hot here all the time. And in order for me to get industry standard broadcast quality sound, I needed to shut off the AC unit, which is common for a lot of people. But that meant it was like a giant sauna. So I was getting a sauna every time I did my voiceover. Again, very excited to be doing my work, very excited to be at minus 60 noise floor and between minus 12 and minus 6 when I was talking. I was fairly miserable. So when the light bulb went off that I was meant to be at broadcast quality in my space and be ferociously comfortable, that was a game changer. So hilarious things, and I've mentioned these before in office hours that have come from my clients and students. Some people wear a bathing suit when they record. Some people go a step farther and wet the bathing suit and put it in the freezer, and then put on the frozen bathing suit and sit on a towel when they go into their booth. That's a way to keep themselves cold. I used what's called cooling towels. Those of you who are athletes will know something about that. I always reference Amazon, but if you're not a friend of Amazon, you can find them anywhere. Cooling towels. They're long towels made of a really interesting fabric that if you wet it and wring it out and put it on a part of your body, it feels freezing. It feels like an ice pack. And so I used a cooling towel around my neck, a cooling towel across my lap, a cooling towel under my feet when I was in the packing blanket booth. That was a sauna. And that made me infinitely more comfortable and had a radical impact on how easily I could do my storytelling. What else about ferociously comfortable? David H. Lawrence XVII, we'll talk about this when we open the mic for him. There's something that he discovered that he turned me onto. I've just ordered my first one. It's called, the company I believe is Evapolar, and it's tiny little evaporative cooling devices, blocks that you can put in your booth. You can't run them while you're recording. They're too noisy for that, but it cools a small space very effectively. So in between takes, you can be nice and cool. But again, ferociously comfortable. How is your chair? That's part of the review. How is the cushion you're sitting on? Comfy, not comfy? Does your chair make noise or not make noise? What kind of lighting do you have in your booth? If it's not LED lighting, you're adding some misery to your recording process that you don't need to, because any light that's not LED is hot and noisy. So not only does it add to discomfort, it adds to your noise floor. So LED lighting, please, in your booth, or no lighting. I have a lot of clients and students who like to record in the dark using the light from their computer or their laptop, whatever you're on. A ferocious review. What's going on around your booth? Do you have printers plugged in? Are there power strips that are noisy? Are there fans? Are there things coming from other parts of the house that you could eliminate or turn down the volume on when you're recording? So many places to do this. So that's your tech and your booth area. Now, expanded outside of that, the yearly review. This is really important because for those of you who know me for a minute, and actually, I always like to start with this. If you don't already have tightly capped hydration, please grab some. 15 minutes of really intense learning can dehydrate you, and hydration also makes you calmer, opens up your throat, gets your brain working better. Tightly capped hydration. And I say tightly capped because I am not the only one in this room, and there may be more of us, who did not have their hydration tightly capped and wept salty, salty tears because something got knocked over. Something is now dead and in electronics heaven. So I want to save you from that. Tightly capped hydration, please. So there's the technical part of your voiceover review, all your equipment, your comfort level, really significant. And of course, you can do a review of your voiceover, let's call it your voiceover storytelling, your voiceover technique. How are you feeling and how are you doing with the way that you're telling your stories? Are you happy with how you're presenting your stories? Do you feel like you're able to get to the center of a character pretty quickly? How is your mental chat, your radical self-care? How is your thinking? Are you kind to yourself when you make your choices? Is your inner mean girl or mean boy beating the heck out of you? just to assess, try to be curious rather than having judgment or I'm doing that again. Curiosity, hold it with a light hand. I just want you to look around like a very curious investigator and see what the heck is going on in there. And again, the outside circle of this is you and your life. So this can be any kind of review you want. Something that I suggest is a place to start is what has happened in the past 365 days in your voiceover life that felt like a win to you, that felt joyful, that felt like forward movement in any way. And something I say a lot because I believe it and I practice it is this. Forward movement can be the size of a grain of sand on the beach. Forward movement can be the size of a drop of water in the ocean. Very often we fall under the spell of thinking that forward movement needs to be something that shows up in our world with bells and whistles and a parade and other people comment about it and we feel a ginormous wave of emotion about it. Those things are wonderful and they do happen. And I want to be very clear with you that the tiny, tiny little forward movements are phenomenally powerful. And one example of a grain of sand forward movement, drop of water in the ocean forward movement, is thinking about what's going on with you. That is forward movement. That's an assessment. That's an action. Some actions obviously are physical out in the world, and we want to make use of those. A lot of actions and really important foundational actions are internal. So what was a big win for you this year? Where is a place where you feel like you need some help or support in your voiceover universe, either with storytelling, with any aspect, understanding your demos? How are your demos? If you have demos, I would listen to those. Think about them, review them. You can give them to someone you trust to listen to. Do they need a freshening or an update? Now, this is all not to freak you out and give you a list of 10,000 things to do. The purpose of this is just to have you look around, notice, and be aware. That is the review. Once you've completed that process, then you can go back and say, okay, what sort of actions would I like to take? Do I need to think about this a little more? Do I need to do what I call a brain dump, which is anything that comes to my mind? That's an action step. I just write it on a piece of paper without thinking about it in order. That's the first step before you organize it. So that's the voiceover universe. I also encourage you, again, because your human civilian life and your voiceover life are infinitely connected. So a review of your year might include, where in my life am I really supported? Who in my life is sort of on my team, either in the business world or the personal world? Who are those people? Where in the last 365 days did I really show up for myself in a way that I liked? Where in the last 365 days did I show up for myself or not show up for myself in a way that maybe could use some love and attention? So this is about looking at, what on a scale, this is very broad brushstroke here, what we would call the good stuff and the bad stuff, the yummy stuff and the stuff that needs some care. And it's all magnificent, right? We are giant, messy masterpiece humans, and this is our deal for our whole time in this body. And it's all beautiful to look at, and it's all potential opportunity and places for more love and growth. And I say love, if that word is too woo-woo for you, places for more forward movement, for more expansion. I want you to choose the words that feel good to you. But what we're talking about here is taking a look around at every nook and cranny of your world, the business and the personal, and seeing what's going on in there. That's a lot of info. How's everybody doing? Let me check the chat. And feel free to send me a direct message if you're not comfortable posting publicly in the chat. That's fine. I got a message that says cooling towels. Somebody who's giving me the thumbs up on the cooling towels. This is somebody who's in the winter weather who has their winter vest on. And they're asking about chairs. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about my chair. Oh, Ellen says I am great. Ellen, crying in the Zoom. You are great also. So happy to have you here. The chair that I'm sitting on, and I can't show it to you without getting off of it and yanking myself around, is a fire engine red chair that I only have because David H. Lawrence XVII discovered it. and it is made out of a single piece of metal, which I believe is aluminum. And the reason that's important is because there's no rivets, there's no parts. The chair is silent. Even when I move around and dance like a crazy person, oh, that's my earrings and that's my jingle bells. That's not the chair. There is no way for this chair to make sound. And I cried salty, salty tears for the first year or so of my voiceover life because I didn't understand how important it was to have a quiet chair. I tried every chair in the house. I thought I was only going for comfort, and I want you to be comfortable. And in addition to being comfortable, your chair must be silent, or as silent as you can get it. And the only way to guarantee a silent chair, I discovered, thanks to David, is to get a chair that's made out of one giant piece of metal. Mm-hmm. And David, I want you to open your mic. Tell us about your process, because I know you have a year in review process that you teach at VO Heroes, and I also know that you do you have a booth, and I don't know if you're using the Everpooler in your booth. So speak a little bit about your process, because I know you've got some wisdom here.
So you covered a whole lot of really good stuff, and what came to mind was I was wondering if anybody here has what I have, which is a pile of boxes from Amazon that we haven't opened and installed yet.
You have a pile of uninstalled Amazon boxes?
It's a small pile, but it's a pile. We tend to acquire knowledge, laud that knowledge, great, I know how to do this now, and then not do it. And so part of the review that I've been doing this past year is not only looking at my calendar and seeing what I've done, I've accomplished, who I've met with, but I've also been doing something really stupidly specific. Okay. And that is jumping on Amazon, going to my orders, and looking at the list of things that I've purchased all year. Mm-hmm. And remembering, oh, right. Yeah, I wanted to do that. Right.
Oh boy. Okay.
I mean, we tend to have like some fire drills that happen when we go, oh, I really need a new chair. I'm going to get that new chair, and you get that new chair and you realize you've got the new chair. It's kind of like when you go, I really need to learn how to do this, so I'm going to take a course on it. Mm-hmm. And so you buy the course, but you never really take it.
Oh, guilty.
You never actually engage in it, right? So this all comes down to you can't improve what you can't measure.
Yes.
And so a lot of this is just gathering some data points that are sitting there waiting for you to review what you've done, what you haven't done, what you want to do, and looking at whether they're just as important as they were that moment that you jumped on Amazon to buy that box, right? Wow. Or if maybe you found another solution, But yeah, we follow the review cycle of the 4 tenets that we teach. Oh, right. So it's a review of your skills, your tech, your business, and where your head's at. Mm-hmm. And if you do that, and you combine it with some Karen-Eileen Gordon yummy goodness, and be kind to yourself, because you're going to uncover some failures. Mm-hmm. And remember that those failures, when you identify them, are moments that you can learn. You can, why did this happen? Why didn't this happen? Things like that. You get an opportunity to sort of look at that. And then you can use that as you get set for the new year. And everybody does it. Everybody's like, oh, this year I'm going to lose 60 pounds and I'm going to, I'm going to the class reunion, so I'm going to lose 60 pounds, even if I have to cut off an arm.
Oh God.
But so we all tend to have these feelings of renewal at the beginning of the year.
For sure. And
this provides you with a great amount of sometimes overwhelming data as to what happened during the past year. Mm-hmm. And I saw something, I think it was on Instagram the other day. Somebody goes, anybody like me think that this year's number was actually a statement, meaning 2020 won? you know,
Oh.
and so how do we defeat 2021 and win with 2022?
Oh
So I'll
gosh,
stop
that's
talking
interesting.
now because there's so much here
Okay.
that I love that you've
Uh,
said. I could
oh,
go on for days,
we
but yeah,
could. We could, and we should talk about. I don't know. Maybe there's a place to offer like a year in review day, like a workshop of some kind. That's a good seed to plant. So thank you for
well,
your
I'm about to
wisdom
send out a reminder to the VO Heroes folks. You know, you've got these two, you know, your
end of the
seasonal
year.
reviews. You should do them.
Yeah.
Now's the time to do them, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you
sure.
kindly.
And by the way, your chair makes no noise at all.
Yeah.
I'm in my video studio with one of those nice, lovely, ergonomic, you know,
Oh, yes.
listen, right? So I
That's
don't,
the one I had before the red chair. I love it. It's so comfortable, but it was noisy as crap.
yeah,
Yeah, but so comfortable. So thank you for being the portal for so many fabulous things in the voiceover universe. And you're getting a lot of love in the chat, so please check it.
great.
Okay, I'm gonna mute you for now. Yes, very insightful, everybody. David H. March the 17th. Very wonderful. This room, the voiceover office hours village is a brain trust. There's everybody in here knows something that somebody else doesn't know. So there's a lot of wisdom in this room, and so I'm very happy to have everybody share. All right, let me see. I want to do the sixth sensory visualization. Do we have any questions? I want to see if any of you have any questions. This is office hours, so if you have any questions about anything anywhere in the world of voiceover, let's take a couple of those. If you don't, no worries. We'll jump into our sixth sensory visualization exercise, and I'll check for questions on the other side. Just watching the chat for a second. David H. 17, your hand is raised.
I have a
Hello.
question.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Karen-Eileen, longtime listener, first time caller.
Hi. Happy to have you in the room, Mr. Lawrence. Yeah.
How are things going for you?
In my voiceover world?
I mean, how are things going for you with radical self-care and with your
Oh.
voiceover stuff and with your equipment, and how's your review going? What have you been doing?
Oh God, what a fascinating question. I usually wait till the last part of December. Like I like to do my review from like the 18th to the 24th, like that week before Christmas. That's the time that I put out to do my review. I usually take a week so I can do it really peacefully, something every day, gently for the 7 days. So the way my review is going is that it hasn't started. But I find it every year to be very surprising, both in and what I do, much like David H. Lawrence the 17th, I also go through I'm a big Amazon purchaser fromer. It's a great phrase right there. I go through the list of everything I've bought, but I do it mostly for my taxes because I itemize every single thing. But it's really a cool review, as David pointed out. Like, oh, did I ever use that Cat 8 Ethernet cable that I ordered? No, I did not. It's sitting in its box. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, a Cat 8 is a flat Cat 8 is the description of an Ethernet cable which connects your computer directly into the modem that produces the wireless. So if your wireless signal is iffy or wonky, and by the way, all wireless signals are less strong than an Ethernet signal because you're hardwired. So if you want to clean up your internet, I highly recommend researching getting Ethernet connected. And the cables are very budgetary. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them anywhere. Used to be Cat 7, now it's Cat 8. I don't know if there's Cat 9 available yet, but I had an incident where I took a Cat 8 cable on a trip with me to a hotel and went to wire into their system, and the Cat 8 cable, for whatever reason, didn't function. We had to use an old cable to connect me with Ethernet. So it happens, but in your home, you can definitely try the cable. If it doesn't work, you can return it, and you can test your upload-download speed. And here's a hilarious piece of wisdom that I didn't know until I started doing my reviews last year. So when you get Ethernet connected and you're plugged in with the Ethernet cable, You need to turn off your wireless on the computer. What? I didn't know that. I plugged in the Ethernet cable and thought I was good to go, but if the wireless and the Ethernet are going together, the wireless will win and the Ethernet gets confused. So you literally turn off the wireless and then try and load a site and it'll load like lightning. It's magic. So especially if you do a lot of Zooms, and for those of you in the voiceover world who want to do remote sessions via Source Connect or IPDTL, you will want to be Ethernet connected. So that's part of a review, maybe something to do in the future. But thank you for asking, sir. And I also like to do, like around the holidays, I take out my calendar. I keep a paper calendar because I love paper calendar in addition to like the Google and the electronic calendars. And I literally go through every day of the calendar and I recall, like you said, David, I recall the people I met, the things I did, the auditions, the bookings, the conversations. I make note of all of it. So it's a year in review of, again, personal life and business life. They're all connected in my calendar. So I love to do a full review and see what's going on. I look forward to doing that every year around Christmas. That's my happy time for review. So thank you.
I have a follow-up.
Yes, Mr. Lawrence, up front.
How much time do you purposefully, mindfully set aside for gratitude?
Oh gosh, this could be a giant. This could be 100 office hour topics.
I think we sometimes do reviews and we beat ourselves up. Oh, I didn't get that done. I didn't do that. I didn't do that. What
right.
about?
So that's why, and I'll repeat this. This is very good. So when you're looking around, the idea is to be a curious, neutral observer. Curious. Oh, I met with that person there. Isn't that interesting? Oh, I sent that email. That's fine. Oh, I ordered that thing from Amazon. Isn't that fascinating? Okay. So neutral, like an archaeologist in your own life. Isn't this a fascinating discovery? But in terms of gratitude, and the gem I'm going to walk you through today is all about anchoring into that gratitude. I personally am a huge fan of gratitude and do things to strengthen that muscle. I find that the ability to get grateful, to find gratitude when we're in the middle of challenging things, or to have resilience that involves gratitude. And what I mean by that is when we're going through our life or our world and something knocks us off center, and the thing that knocks us off center can be external or it can be internal, right? It can be our own thoughts or our own emotions can knock us off center. We're human beings. That happens all the time. So the ability to come back to our center with some gratitude is life-changing and game-changing. So the way that I work that muscle is on a daily basis. I do a gratitude list. And the gratitude list can be in your head. It can be spoken out loud. It can be written. I have friends and students who find a gratitude buddy, and every day they text or email each other 3 things they're grateful for, 5 things they're grateful for. You choose the number, but it's almost an accountability buddy to strengthen that gratitude muscle. I'm really happy you brought that up because it is one of the core tenets, I believe, of the thing that I call radical self-care. We are all miracles. I don't expect everybody to be walking around in that every day, but the more that we can connect to the amazingness that we are and the blessings we have and the things we have to be grateful for, the easier it is to return to that place every time. And if you're in a rough place and you practice linking into gratitude, then that will come online more easily eventually if you continue to do it. It's very easy. People say, well, it's easy to be grateful when things are going well. Yes, it's much easier because in terms of quantum physics, and this is very woo-woo, but I love it. In terms of quantum physics, when things are going well, when we're thinking happy thoughts, we feel like we're looking at things in our world, we're observing them, and we're having a happy response. The quality, the nature of what's going on between our ears is like of a high vibration. It's fast, it's expanded. It's very easy to access thoughts that are similar when you're there. Things that match. Gee, I'm feeling good. Gee, I'm happy. Gee, this was a nice event. It's very easy to access gratitude from there. When we're in what the quantum physicists would call a lower vibrational place, which means thoughts that are, this is very broad brushstroke here, more in alignment with sadness, frustration, depression, anxiety, those thoughts in general are going to move slower. They feel heavier. The body will feel more contracted. If the majority of what's going on in your head at the moment is in that lower place, you don't have easy access to the thoughts that are vibrating here because we're vibrating here. You have easy access to the thoughts that are matched to where you are. So one of the things that gratitude does is it's like a lifeboat. It's a life preserver. So if we're here like, oh, never, it's too late, I can't, it was a waste of time, I didn't, blah, 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 and we all do it, by the way. Gratitude comes in like a giant life preserver, yanks you up to a higher vibration so that you then have more easy access to, oh, but maybe it'll change tomorrow. And, oh, I did that thing last week that was okay. And so it's about getting yourself from a low sludgy place to a lighter, higher vibration where you can more easily access the gratitude. And we need that tool to make the gap, because as human beings, there's no way we're ever going to be floating on clouds 24/7. That's not the nature of how we're wired. And I purposely don't believe that's what we came here to do. I think we're in bodies because we want to experience the contrast, the good, the bad, the ugly, the happy, the sad, the everything in between. So it's a gorgeous question. Thank you. Thank you, sir. All right, let me check the chat, and then I definitely want to have enough time for our gem today. Okay, great. Okay, so let me I'm gonna tuck my bell in so it doesn't jingle. It's a high class problem. Tuck in my elf bell. All right, so this, as I mentioned, is called it's called 5 sensory visualization in the Olympic athlete world and the world where people do it. I call it 6 sensory visualization because I add one layer to it, which I'll talk you through. And what this basically means is you're taking a visualization, so a picture that you're seeing, and you're adding in all 5 senses, and I'm going to write them. So I remember to go through all of them: what you see, what you hear, what you touch, what you smell, what you taste, and my 6th one is what you intuit. So that's your intuition or your higher guidance. But you don't have to worry about this. I'm going to talk you through it. So I feel like is it Missy Copeland? I'm trying to remember the name of the Olympian where I saw the quote, and she said, by the time, and she's won like 6 gold medals. I believe she's a swimmer. Somebody please correct me if I'm getting this all garbled. I'll find the quote and post it in office hours. She said by the time she's gotten to the Olympics, she's already seen her gold medal winning run tens of thousands of times. Hearing it, seeing it, smelling it, touching it, tasting it, feeling it all over the place. So that does all kinds of things. Again, the brain scientists and the quantum physicists tell us that there is no difference in our neural net, the neural net, what it is in our body that responds to stimuli. There's no difference between what we see with our eyes and observe in the world and respond to, and what we see in our mind's eyes with our eyes closed. You say that again, because that's kind of a big deal. The neural net, the thing inside of us that responds, makes no differentiation between what we're seeing with our physical eyes out in the world, observing and responding to, and what we're imagining in the theater of our mind with our eyes closed and are seeing and responding to. No differentiation. They're equally real, which is why, and the example I use, if you are walking around, taking a walk, and you see a stick on the ground, but your brain thinks it's a snake, you'll have a cascade of chemicals in your body, if you don't like snakes, that are equivalent to snake. It's not a snake. It's a piece of wood, but the brain and the eyes have made a decision and the cascade follows. So this is a way to harness the reactivity of the neural net and the theater of the mind in an incredibly positive manner. So here we go. I'm going to invite you, almost all of you have your cameras off. I want to tell you, if you're more comfortable with your camera off, please feel free to turn it off. If you want to stay with us in your Zoom, you're completely safe and comfortable. If you're driving, please do not do this. Please watch the review of this recording and be led through it. I want you to be safe, safety first. And I want everybody to take a little hydration if you have it near you beforehand, because this is going to work everything in your human magnificence. So take a little sip of something if you have it. Okay. Let me check the chat. Here we go. Okay, great. So I want you to just notice, again, neutral observer, just an archaeologist in your own life, in your magnificent life, a real-time live archaeologist. On a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is you're so relaxed, you're a noodle, you might fall asleep in your chair and lean right out of the Zoom square, which would be a compliment to me. Or 10, which is like you're so stressed out, you might have your hair standing up, you feel like you might have a panic attack. So from 1 noodle to 10 sort of panicky, just notice where you are. Just notice. Okay. All right. Okay. And I want to invite you to close your eyes. This exercise is best done with the eyes closed. And I want you to get comfortable. So if you're able to lean back where you're sitting, get comfortable, shake out your arms, waggle your feet a little bit, roll your shoulders. I'm going to close this so we're not disturbed by anything in the house. Give me 1 second here. There we go. Okay, great. Okay, great. Eyes closed. All right, so I would like you to put yourself in a lovely office. Somebody has just led you into a lovely office. It's a meeting room. And there's a desk in front of you and an empty chair. So you are expecting to have a meeting. And because this is voiceover office hours, I'm going to make this a voiceover themed 6 sensory visualization. Just know you can use any scenario here. So you're in this office and you're about to have a meeting with a voiceover producer who has requested to see you. And I want this to be from like your dream company, right? So if I were to wave my magical wand and say, the producer from this company wants to engage your services, would that be Pixar? Would that be Hulu? Would that be Netflix? Would that be ESPN? Would that be Disney? Would that be ABC? Like whatever giant producer in the voiceover world you feel like would be your dream lottery winning meeting or gig. So this person has requested to see you. So the lovely receptionist has led you into the room. And at the moment, the room's empty. So I want you to just kind of like look around and get comfortable. And again, you are the creative director, the writer, the producer of this movie in your mind. So I want you to think about making the choices that feel the most delicious, the most comfortable, the most yummy for you. So first, let's engage the sense of sight. Look around here. I want you to look around this office. What does this office look like? And again, I want you to fill in details with things that are pleasant to you. What's on the wall? Are there posters? Is it degrees? Are there wall hangings of some kind? Is there a bookshelf? If so, what's on it? Is it books? Is it figurines? Is it awards? Emmy, Oscar, Grammy, Tony, Audie, any kind of award thing going on there. I want you to look down. What's on the floor? Is it tile, carpet, a rug of some kind? Is there a window in the room? And if so, what's on the window? Is it curtains or shades? What time of day is it? Morning, afternoon, evening? Can you see through the window? What do you see? Is it clouds? Is it a lovely view? Is it trees or flowers of some kind? Are you seeing other buildings? Do you have, are you lower down? Can you see the traffic on the street? Just notice what you're seeing through the window. I also want you to look down at what you're wearing. And this is an important, lovely meeting. And I want you to have chosen the outfit that is the most comfortable and feels the most empowering for you. If you have a lucky outfit, you're wearing it. If you have a lucky shirt or lucky pants or lucky shoes or whatever it is that makes you feel most comfortable and most confident, I want you to look down at what you've chosen. See what shoes you have chosen. Same thing, the most comfortable shoes you have, the thing that feels the most empowering. Now let's engage your sense of hearing in this room. Just take a moment and what are you hearing here? Are you hearing phones or keyboards clacking outside this room? Is it really quiet? Are they piping in some kind of music? And if they are, by the way, it's music that makes you say, oh my goodness, I can't believe they're playing that. That's one of my favorite things. How interesting they'd be playing that right before this cool meeting. And what else is going on in there? Are you hearing, is there a fountain in there? Like a little fountain, anything gurgling? Any chatter going on outside? Now let's engage your sense of touch, and I want you to just kind of feel your body nice and solid on whatever you're sitting on, and really supported by whatever it is. Are you on a chair, or are you on a couch, or are you on a bench? Whatever you're on, I want you to feel how nice and solid it feels. And I also want you to feel your feet in your shoes. Go ahead and wiggle your toes a little bit and feel how comfortable that feels, and feel how solid your feet feel on the floor. If it's a chair, I'd like you to be sitting or leaning in a way that you feel really supported by the back of the chair, just incredibly supported and calm. You're calm. You have a very good sense about this meeting. I want you to feel that running through your body. You're feeling calm and excited, obviously, to meet this person who has called to meet you. And let's engage now the sense of smell. So, what's happening in this room? Is there a plant or a flower that's in there that you're scenting? And if yes, again, I'd like you to choose something that has you say, wow, that happens to be one of my favorite plants or flowers. How interesting that that would be in this room, and really enjoy that smell. Do you have a beverage with you? Did the lovely receptionist or the office manager who brought you in, did they ask you if you wanted coffee, tea, water, juice? Do you have something in your hand? If you do, I'd like you to, in the theater of your mind, just raise it to your nose and get a waft of it and really enjoy the smell of it. Did you choose to wear cologne, essential oil, perfume for this meeting? If so, I'd like you to inhale and really take that in. I guess not I guess, for sure, it's the thing that you enjoy wearing that makes you feel most you and most comfortable. And now the sense of taste. So did you have a breath mint or a piece of gum before you came in? If you did, what is that flavor? Is it peppermint, wintergreen, cinnamon, some other flavor? If so, I'd like you to taste that on your tongue. And if you are holding a beverage, you can go ahead and take a sip of that and enjoy the taste of it. And now this is the sixth sense here. I'd like you to just feel really good about this meeting. Like sometimes we have that feeling that something's going to go quite well. We just have that sixth sensory knowing. I'd like you to allow that feeling to just run through you as you're sitting here in your very comfortable, amazing outfit, in this chair that's comfortable, in this room that's very comfortable, waiting for this very high level dream team in your mind, producer who's asked to meet with you. Just enjoy that moment. And now in walks the wonderful producer, who is beaming a smile and walks around to the other side of the desk, standing up, and you can go ahead and stand. And the handshake is incredibly warm. And this is, you choose. It's either COVID has vanished from the planet and shaking hands is fine, or everybody's sanitized and shaking hands is fine. So shaking hands is wonderful. So a really heartfelt, warm handshake. And this person is clearly very happy to see you, and you have a seat. And settle in. And now I'd like you to hear this person say to you, I'm so happy to meet you. I'm actually really happy to meet you. And so is my entire team. And I'd like you to let that land, because clearly there's a team that this producer has been discussing you with. And now this producer leans back and says to you, we have your demos, we have your reels, and if you don't yet have these reels, I want you to fill in that blank and know that the producer has something that indicates what you can do. Maybe they saw a live show you did years ago. Maybe they have an on-camera reel. Maybe they have reviewed your Actors Access website or your voiceover profiles. They have seen your body of work. So the producer says, we're familiar with you and your stuff, and you come very highly recommended. And we never do this, but we'd like to offer you a contract. We have a voiceover project in the works for 2022, and we'd like you to be on board. And it starts the second week in January, and we'd like to engage you for the year. It'll go through December 2022. And the contract for the first year will be 6 figures. And of course, we'll revisit that at the end of the year. And then I want you to see this producer sliding that contract across the table to you and saying, I know this is a lot. And again, we're moving very fast, but we're all in. Everybody on this side knows that you are the person for this gig, and we cannot wait to work with you. We hope the answer is yes. We want you to take your time and think about it and get back to us. But we can't wait. We can't wait to work with you and meet you. And, if the January deadline doesn't work for you, we have some wiggle room. But you're our person. And we're so happy we found you. And I'd like you to just sit with that for a moment and feel how it feels to have been offered a 6-figure voiceover contract with one of your dream producers, who is basically saying, where have you been all of our voiceover lives? We're so happy to have discovered you, and you're it for us. You are it. I'd like you to let that run through you. And then I'd like you to fast forward a bit and have a handshake at the end of the meeting and walk out into the lobby. And I want you to imagine calling the first person that you would call to tell this news on your cell phone. And I want you to imagine what that person would say. And I want you to just allow yourself to let that flow through you with the contract in your hands that you will review with whoever you'd like to review. If you don't yet have a lawyer, this might be the time to call that lawyer friend you know. If you have a lawyer, you'll be taking that to them. But the person that you've called is over the moon at this news and celebrating with you. It's a pretty magical moment. I'd like you to just let that run through you for a moment. And when you're ready, very gently, I'd like you to slowly come back into this Zoom square, into your body in this moment, Wednesday, December 8th, just before noon Pacific, just before 3 p.m. Eastern. Come back into this voiceover office hours very gently. Take some deep breaths. There's no hurry coming back here. This was a literal journey for your mind, heart, body, spirit, and soul. So I want you to take your time coming back. The reentry is important, so don't rush it. Take your time. I'm going to be quiet for about a minute here, and then I'll check back in with you. But everybody take your time. I'm going to set the timer here for 60. So That's the magical harp of destiny, but if you're still coming back in, take your time. Ah, that was yummy. Yeah, thank you, Zeke. Yeah, me too. I felt it. Now, I just want you to notice if you posted a number, I know a couple of you did. Where's your number now? With 1 being noodle, you might fall asleep, and 10 being you're super stressed out. This was about 15 minutes, and you can do this every day if this feels good to you. You can pull up this recording and be guided through this exact visualization again every day if you like, or you can create your own and self-direct. The Olympians who use this and the scientists who study why this is so effective, the quantum physicists, say that 10 times fast, tell us that when we connect to 5 sensory or 6 sensory very strongly with a vision, there are all kinds of things that start to move around in our subconscious that help us to move in that direction. And subconscious obviously means we wouldn't be aware of it. Like suddenly we might get a desire to read a certain book, and maybe that book is going to lead us to a producer that we're dreaming about. But none of this is like, I'm going to go after the producer. Like, so this visualization sets in motion all kinds of things internally, and so the quantum physicists say externally, that help us to actually call in the thing we're visualizing or the closest equivalent. It's very, very powerful indeed. So yeah, so everybody is, in addition, this is incredibly relaxing, this gem. So everybody's number went down, which doesn't surprise me. That's wonderful. We are almost at the top of our beautiful hour. I want to see how everybody's doing. Anybody have anything they want to post in the chat? Anybody have anything they'd like to share? If you want to come off mic and say anything about any of this, you can either wave at me or raise your hand. And if you're feeling shy, no worries. Oh my gosh, everything's ringing. Stop that. Stop that. Okay. This is you and voiceover office hours. I want a big dose of gratitude here. Has been an incredible bright spot for me in 2021. It has been my joy to come together with you once a month and share and be part of your voiceover thriving. Somebody is direct messaging me asking about private sessions. Yes, absolutely. I do coach privately in a limited manner. I'm gonna post my voiceover. I'm gonna post my email in the chat. Here we go. Where are you? Is that correct? Let me make sure it's right. That's me. Absolutely reach out if you'd like to work with me. It'd be my pleasure. I love doing this. And as David mentioned, I'm working on getting a full course called Radical Self-Care for Voiceover Artists up and running, which involves this and dozens more gems like it to help you be super healthy and happy and thriving on the journey. You and I know that the path of being an artist has its challenges. All jobs have their challenges, and the path of an artist, I think, has a special degree of challenge, and so requires a boosted and enhanced and magical toolkit to help you thrive on that journey. And I'm all about doing that for myself and helping you to do that as well. Oh my goodness, you're going to make me cry. Sophia, what a beautiful message. Ellen, your hand is up. Let's see. I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to say you are just amazing. You always use the word magical. You're magical. And the treat to our ears with all the words you use. You're so inventive and calming and happy. And wow, we're lucky. We're lucky.
Okay. So what a beautiful sentiment. Crying on the Zoom, always crying. That was a gorgeous. Thank you so much. What gorgeous words. And it's really, It's such a blessing for me to give this to all of you and to watch you grow and to see and hear the light bulbs go on. I have been a successful, miserable artist. I have done that. I don't want that. I don't want that for any of you. I want us to be successful and thriving, successful and happy, successful and grateful, successful and peaceful. So let's do that. Let's do that. Oh, I just adore all of you. Okay, everybody, come off your muteness. Come off. We're gonna, you know how we're gonna end this. And we know how we're gonna do it. If you can't unmute, I fully understand. If you can't, if you're in a place where you can't, raise your right hand, please. Grab the back of your left shoulder. Pat, 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 pat. Repeat after me. I am voiceover awesome.
I am voiceover awesome.
I did some cool things in 2021. I did some
Really
cool
cool
things in
things in
2021. I'm going to do some even cooler things in 2022. I'm going to do even some cooler things in 2022. The voiceover world is lucky to have me. The voiceover world is lucky to have me. I have a voiceover village that supports me. I have a voiceover village that supports me. Yay me! Yay me! Everybody. How wonderful. Please have a gorgeous holiday season. I adore all of you. You're a part of my happiness and my magic. And I'll see you again in January. Reach out. My email's in the chat if you have questions or want to talk about anything. And please take very good care of yourselves. You're worth it. You deserve it. You're precious. The world needs you. So big love. Happy holidays, everybody. See you next time.
Thank you very much. Thank
Bye.
you.